After finishing the first wave of character finisher rankings, I made an official post for a question and answers video I wanted to do for a while. I thought this would be a fun video for me to interact with all of you, and for all of you to know a little bit more about me, the guy who has a knack for ranking character finishers. You have a lot of questions, and I have a lot of answers, so let's talk about them. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. My name is Nick, and welcome to, or welcome back to the channel. If you're new, be sure to click the subscribe button to join the Whack Pack today, and to stay tuned for more Mortal content and fun content. After the release of the all 12 Shang Tsung finishers ranked video, I took a bit of a break and wanted to make a fun video for you all. You all asked me a bunch of questions, and I am planning on answering all of them. But first, I promise you all a face reveal. Okay, here we go. Get ready to see what I look like.
Welcome to Game Theory!
Oh, whoops. Yeah, that's not me. Hang on.
Hang on just 1 second. Alright, there we go. Much better. Hi, y'all. Firstly, I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of you who had left some questions for today's video. After reading through several of these questions, I was getting more excited about answering them on camera, so you guys can know a little bit more about me. I hope this video is fun for you all. If you really feel like it, consider answering these questions along with me so I can learn a little bit more about you as well. And before we get started, I would like to give a huge thank you to our sponsor for today's video, Grand Finals Gaming.
Grand Finals Gaming hosts gaming events and tournaments in the state of Michigan with the goal to facilitate the growth of competitive players as well as encourage newcomers to join the fighting game scene. You can check out some high-level fighting gameplay on their YouTube and Twitch channels. While you're there, be sure to give them a follow and subscribe. They also have an amazing website chock full of content including info on their team members like Footwork, D Towns King, Uncle Caps, as well as content creators like myself. But my personal favorite part of their website is the shop. They have an amazing variety of merch, some of which is themed after many fighting games such as Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken, Killer Instinct, and more.
I'm actually wearing one of their t-shirts right now, and actually using one of their retro-themed tumbler water bottles as I record and edit. There is something for everyone on their site, so make sure you visit grandfinalsgaming.com and check out their other links in the description down below. Again, a big thank you to Grand Finals Gaming for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get to those questions.
Our first question is from the Narnia Kid saying, "Your mom."
Got me.
The Havoc Spawner asks, what are your top 5 most wanted guest characters for future Mortal Kombat and Injustice games?
Thank you for your question, Havoc. Like many others, I would say I'd love to see Ash Williams from the Evil Dead franchise make his way into Mortal Kombat. I think he would be perfect. Alongside him, I would really love to see Rick Taylor from Splatterhouse, Doomslayer from the most recent Doom games by Bethesda and id Software. Along with that, I would really like to see Nemesis from Resident Evil get another video game guest character in there. And I'd also like to see Judge Dredd. They already did all the 80s characters with Mortal Kombat 11. I'd like to see another one in there. When it comes to Injustice, I would really like to see Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe, Omni-Man from Invincible, both Billy the Butcher and Homelander from The Boys, and I would also like to see Iron Man from Marvel if they could somehow make that work. I think this would actually be a fun video to talk about in the future, like guest characters I'd love to see make it in other NetherRealm Studios games, so let me know if that's something you would like to see, please.
Demetrius Canteras asks, who or what inspired you to love the Mortal Kombat franchise?
So what inspired me to love the Mortal Kombat franchise was actually from family and good memories linked to it. A lot of my love from the series comes from nostalgia, which I feel is similar to a lot of people who love it nowadays. My brother, cousin, and I spent lots of time as kids playing the Midway Arcade collection on the PlayStation 2. We went to a small truck stop growing up where they had an MK2 cabinet where I actually learned how to perform my first fatality ever, which I mentioned in the Scorpion video. And when I went to my grandma's house, I would hang out with my cousins there, and she had a Sega Genesis of the original Mortal Kombat on there, which I learned about the blood code and saw the Sub-Zero spine rip there, and that kind of stuck with me a lot as a kid. The more I think about it, I think it's just a good mix of nostalgia from my childhood and my family kind of getting me into Mortal Kombat. Both my parents loved it when they were growing up, and they kind of got me into it when I first played the PS1. The series just has loads of good memories linked to it for me when it came to growing up, both with friends, family. With that love came passion to create these Mortal Kombat videos for you all. So thank you to all of my family and friends. If it weren't for you getting me into the franchise, I wouldn't be doing this type of content.
MKFan14, Mega Cat Live, The Shogun 87, Johnny Boy RSA, Mishi the Silver Hex, and When Funny Dancing Cockroach asks, what was the first Mortal Kombat game I ever played was?
The load of people that ask what the first Mortal Kombat game I played was. The first Mortal Kombat game I had ever played was actually Mortal Kombat 3, specifically the vanilla version on the PlayStation 1. Just talking Mortal Kombat in my childhood really wants me to do like a retrospective video or my history with the franchise, similar to what Catechris did with his Bandicoot month and his history with Crash Bandicoot. I think that'd be a lot of fun. If that's something you'd like to see, please let me know. I have a lot of fun perspective talking about Mortal Kombat, and I'd love to talk more about it with you all.
OYT asks me, who are the characters I want to see come back from the PS2 era in another Mortal Kombat game?
Thank you for asking, OYT. When it comes to the PS2 era, I would really like to see Havoc from Mortal Kombat Deception. I thought it was nice seeing him make his way as a cameo in Joker's ending. It kind of sucked that that's just what he was relegated to. But other characters I'd really like to see is Li Mei, who was introduced into Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. It was nice seeing her make her appearance in MKX in the story. And I would also really like to see Hotaru from Mortal Kombat Deception. And I know that John Vogel's been open about that, and I think that would be great. So fingers crossed that we can get some Deception, Deadly Alliance era characters to come back in future Mortal Kombat titles.
Extra Explosive and Dre Diddy 83 ask, how high do you think the chances are that Kenshi will return in the next Mortal Kombat game?
I feel that Kenshi has a great chance of making it back into the next Mortal Kombat game. A lot of people were pretty disappointed that he was just deconfirmed through the Crypt mode in the Mortal Kombat 11 game. I just think that if they are going to go with a prequel form for the next Mortal Kombat with how Aftermath was setting everything up, I think it'd be awesome to see a non-blinded version Kenshi playable who's like a excellent swordsman instead, and then later in the story you actually get his origin of Shang Tsung kind of screwing him over, making him blind, and then that could be like a skin that you get towards the end of the game. So yeah, I think that Kenshi has a good chance of making it back.
A question from Rowan Timmerman, would you ever cover any beat-em-up games? The Scott Pilgrim game is pretty good.
Yes, I actually would love to cover beat-em-up games, whether it's just doing reviews or fun moments with friends, because I know a lot of my friends like beat-em-ups like the Scott Pilgrim game, like you said, which I do have a good nostalgia for. Even something like Castle Crashers or even Battletoads. So maybe if I can get a group of friends together to play those games, just kind of record some fun highlights, I'd love to get some of that together, include my friends in on fun stuff like this. So yeah, if a lot of people would like to do that, I'll definitely do it.
From Jonathan Flyfell, what is your ranking for the top 5 protagonists in the entire Mortal Kombat series?
Thank you for your question, Jonathan. I would say the top 5 protagonists to me would be Liu Kang, because he's the main protagonist of Mortal Kombat. Follow up with that, I would say it's Kung Lao, then Raiden, their mentor. And then after that, I would say it's Johnny Cage and then Sonya Blade. I think they're great protagonists.
Mega Cat Live, TL Galaxy, The Gaming Watcher, Sebastian Martinez, and Quite Baby Queen ask, what is my favorite brutality, and what is my favorite Mortal Kombat game?
I would say my favorite Mortal Kombat game in the series has to be the 2011 reboot. It did an amazing job reviving the character's charm and while updating the combat to make it feel fresh. If it weren't for the success of this reboot, we wouldn't have stuff like Mortal Kombat X, we wouldn't even have Mortal Kombat 11, and we wouldn't even have like the future of NetherRealm Studios. I'd say the franchise would be dead at this point. So I'm happy that that was successful, and I'm happy that that's like the game that got people into Mortal Kombat. If not, I wouldn't be doing content like this. Oh, and my favorite brutality will have to be the Off With Your Head by Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat 11. I just thought that one was awesome.
From Adam Nowakowski, what is your opinion on Mortal Kombat content in other media than games, such as movies, the animated series, and MK Conquest?
I don't mind Mortal Kombat being in other media that's not just games. I think it's actually a fun and creative way to expand the narrative and streamline it so it's easier for people to understand it. Stuff like the animated movie, Scorpion's Revenge, even Battle for the Realms, I think it just helps give an idea of what kind of happened in between the main game with the first one, with you actually learn about Scorpion's backstory. You kind of get to learn about like the side stories leading up to the tournament. I also think it's nice to have the movies, like the 1995 one and even the 2021 one. They're kind of readaptations, and it's fun to see it done in a live action form and actually get to see some fun actors do some cool kung fu. And when it comes to other stuff like Conquest, I haven't watched it yet. I know it's on HBO Max. So if I was thinking about doing that as a fun series, never watched Conquest, and then kind of do like a noob's review of it, someone who loves the series but never watched that before, I think that'd be fun. But yeah, I think that the Mortal Kombat media outside of the games, I think it's pretty nice. Even though it's not the best, like it doesn't translate the best though, but I still think it's fun entertainment overall.
Moving on, Noob Cybot asks, if Mortal Kombat 11 had a Combat Pack 3, who would you want to be in it?
Alrighty, let's do this. Alright, so for this, I'm going to do 3 Mortal Kombat characters and 3 guest characters, as that's what the first Combat Pack did. So I'm going to say the first 3 picks for Mortal Kombat characters would be Takeda from Mortal Kombat X. Then I would say Havoc from Mortal Kombat Deception. And then the third one, I would say just the Cyber Ninjas in a way. It kind of sucked that they were playable in some way if you mod the game. So I'd say kind of having that deliver there would be fantastic. And then when it comes to the guest characters, Ash Williams, he was data mined at one point, so it would be nice to actually see him make it in there. Then the next one I'd say is Doomslayer from Doom. I think he just fits perfectly. And then third, I would say Judge Dredd. I think that would be another awesome 80s character to make his way into Mortal Kombat.
From GOG, what's your favorite Mortal Kombat movie?
I'd say that's a really close answer for me. It's a 3-way tie. It's either the 95 film because of nostalgia I have for it, and it's just a fun movie overall. The 2021 one, because I think it's done pretty well, although it has some flaws. And maybe even Scorpion's Revenge, I thought that was done super well. But Annihilation can screw off, that's not going in there. I would like to do a video where I rank the movies and kind of provide like a mini review for each one. So stay tuned for a video like that, because I do have something like that planned.
From British Sawant, will you ever do a Killer Instinct tier list?
I'm not sure if I would do a Killer Instinct tier list, but I do want to cover Killer Instinct, and the one way I would want to for the Bring Back KI movement is do like a ranking of the 3 guest characters, specifically based on like how they fit into the universe, how well are they represented, and how fun are they as characters. I think that would be a fun way to kind of translate the ranking format that I've used for videos and translate it into another game franchise that I really like. So stay tuned for a fun video like that coming up soon.
From Alex Kirk, what is my top 5 and top 10 brutalities in Mortal Kombat 11?
Oh, this is such a good one. I'd say rapid fire answer. Off With Your Head by Sub-Zero, Baraka's Chop Chop, Joker's homage to Zack Snyder's Batman, Melina's Teleslam, and I would say also the Black Dragon Fight Club secret stage brutality with the chainsaw just kind of mowing through them. I just think those ones are common ones that I pull off. They're all satisfying and easy. I think they're quick and pacing, and I think that they're all really fun and cool to watch.
From Philip Napoli, do you think it's possible for a Mortal Kombat themed fan to enter a Mortal Kombat entry?
By that, do you mean like someone like in the comments to do like a entry to like for a potential video idea? Because if so, I have been getting plenty of ideas from you all in the comments. So there are some fun ideas that you've left for me, and I've put those into consideration, so stay tuned for those.
From Toxic Andrew CZ, favorite game series outside of Mortal Kombat?
I would say that my favorite game series outside of Mortal Kombat would be the Crash Bandicoot series. It was the first platformer that I've ever played as a kid. It's also one of the first video games I've ever played as a kid. And for my love and passion for it, I would like to do more content regarding Crash Bandicoot.
From NickNackPadyWak, Gabriel Zuzunegi, Game Night 89, Adam Musa, Miguel L. Govano, Britton Beard, The Demo Flower, and Ramesh Garg asked, who is my favorite character in Mortal Kombat?
If you haven't caught on to it yet, my favorite character is Sub-Zero. He was the first character I ever played as when I was a kid. He's my go-to whenever there's a new Mortal Kombat game coming out. I guess you could just say he's a cool guy. Sorry for the pun.
From James M., which male ninja, female ninja, or cyber ninja is my favorite?
Stated in the question earlier, Sub-Zero is my favorite ninja, but I guess I can answer for all three. When it comes to favorite female ninja, I'm going to say it's Melina. I just think that she's really cool. And then when it comes to favorite cyber ninja, I'm going to say it's Smoke. I just thought he was awesome back then, and I still think he is now.
Blue Boy asks, who is my least favorite Mortal Kombat character?
To make this one more interesting, I'm just going to stick with the original trilogy, because I know many people would expect me to say someone like Su Hao, and I feel like the community would be like that. But I'd say my least favorite character of the original trilogy would have to be Stryker. I never found him too interesting back in the day, and I still feel like he lacked some personality when it came to Mortal Kombat 2011. So I'd say I just never found him that interesting, so he's my least favorite of the original trilogy.
Sadanan Gangav asks me, how many scorpions exist in Mortal Kombat?
Let's say 68.
From Mr. I Need Rebex, what is my next goal as subscribers?
My next goal for subscribers would be to get to 25,000 subscribers. By the recording of this video, I just broke 10,000 subscribers, and thank you all very much for your support on that. That really does mean a lot to me, so let's keep that train going.
Malam17 asks me, what are my hobbies?
Well, first off, thank you for asking, Malam. My favorite hobbies outside of YouTube would include running. Many of you saw that I just did a marathon not too long ago. I hit the gym regularly with one of my good friends almost every day. And I enjoy karaoke on the weekends. I'm very open to trying out new things. And maybe I can update you on some fun new stuff that I'll be doing. I'll put that on Twitter and on the community tabs.
From Havoc Spawner, are you thinking about expanding your content to other stuff other than Mortal Kombat?
Yes, I am, Havoc. Although I've thought about doing the ranking style still, I'm thinking about how to translate and incorporate that into other fun stuff that I am passionate about. Like, for a while, I thought about wanting to do a ranking of all of the final smashes for Smash Bros. Ultimate, do something for the Crash Bandicoot bosses, or even some of the games, even for Mortal Kombat games, Killer Instinct guest characters, and I think even the movies as well, too. Maybe just not stick with just the character rankings, but I'd like to translate this into other fun things that I am passionate about.
From Dre, maybe not the doctor, is the combo in your profile picture an actual combo? If it is, what video game is it from? Also, who's better, mustard or ketchup?
So when you say PFP, I'm assuming you mean profile picture, and that is something I made. The fist icon is something I just put together. It's not pulled from a game, it's just a universal heavy punch icon. And when it comes to ketchup and mustard, I both find them amazing. I can't really decide, but if I have to choose one of them, ketchup, because I like putting that stuff on my hot dogs.
From Ryan Bergy, what did you think of the 2021 live-action Mortal Kombat movie?
To keep it short, I would say it was an alright adaptation. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I'd like to dive more into it when I do an all movies, MK movies ranked coming up soon. Maybe that's how I can segue into doing movies, because I'd love to talk more about that.
From Zakrosis and Sebastian Martinez, who is my favorite MK11 character to play as or just as a character?
My favorite Mortal Kombat 11 character to play as is a tie between Sub-Zero and Baraka. And when it comes to as a character, I really like how they did Scorpion in this one. Those are characters that I feel like I liked the most in the game.
From LeGarrick Warner, best fighting game, Street Fighter, Tekken, or Mortal Kombat?
Oh man, if I had to say like series as a whole, I would have to give it to Street Fighter. I think it's done the most innovation for the fighting game genre. Um, I think based on that, it's the best. It's made the biggest impact on the genre and gaming as a whole. I do have to give credit to both Tekken and Mortal Kombat for everything that they've done, though.
From Merrick Najeti, will you do a ranking on the heroic brutalities?
Oh, I would love to do a video on the heroic brutalities. Not only do I think it would be a lot of fun, it would also be very torturous on my end.
From the Gaming Dearmid 666, would you ever rank the MK games from worst to best?
Of course, I would love to do a video on something like that. I could provide both positives and negatives I had on each of the games, do like a mini review for each one of them. I feel like I'd have a lot to say, maybe some different thoughts and opinions that many other Mortal Kombat fans have. If that's something you'd really like to see, please let me know and I'll put that on my schedule.
From the GIF King, what's your favorite open world game of all time?
I haven't played a lot of open world games, actually, but there are a few that I have played that I do really love a lot. The ones that I'd say that I like are Batman Arkham City, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and Metal Gear Solid 5. I recently just got The Witcher 3, and after I spend some hours on that, that'll probably crack the list as well. I've heard many great things, so I'll keep you up to date on that.
From LP Gaming and Toffee Noodles, love your videos. Also, what games other than Mortal Kombat do you like to play?
Thank you very much for asking. Outside of playing Mortal Kombat, I enjoy playing Crash Team Racing and other Crash Bandicoot games. I really like the new Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl game that came out. Also fun with friends. Doom Eternal, Halo Master Chief Collection. Really looking forward to Infinite. Dead by Daylight and Spyro Reignited.
Alpal Percentage asks, how was your day?
Thank you very much, Al. My day is going good. I hope yours is, and I hope everyone who's watching this is having an amazing day.
From Johnny P. Gulf City Lethal Spurg, say that 3 times fast, scariest media as a kid.
Oh man, the scariest media to me as a kid, I would say it would have to be Doom 3, playing it on the PC. When I was in elementary school, one of my friends invited me to come over to play Doom 3 when it just came out. That game completely scared me as a kid. Demons back then were terrifying to me. And I was completely new to first-person shooter games, so I had like no idea how they worked, and it didn't help that we were playing it on hard mode. So I didn't know how to fight back. I didn't know what the controls were, so it felt scary being defenseless. It only took me until like 12 years later to get back into another Doom game with the Doom reboot in 2016. Maybe I'll give Doom 3 a revisit soon. I haven't played it since that moment. But for me, Doom 3 was the scariest thing from my childhood. It's probably not going to be that scary when I revisit it, though.
From Unfit Umbreon, what stage out of all of the NRS Mortal Kombat games were you most disappointed to see not get a stage fatality?
Oh man, I'm really disappointed that the Special Forces Desert Command didn't get a stage fatality. After hearing rumors that every single stage was supposed to have a stage finisher, I would have loved to see one where the opponent gets kicked away and that anti-aircraft turret just lights the opponent up and turns them into a pulp. I thought that would have been fantastic. Even thinking about it, I'm just like, oh my goodness, how did this not happen? But out of all of the stages that didn't get one, I feel that was like the biggest missed opportunity.
Feige Stein, No Hate, and Britain Beard asked me, just wondering, what do you think is the best fatality in Mortal Kombat?
Thank you all for asking, and thank you for the comment. That really does mean a lot to me. I would say I have 2 favorite finishers of all of them. One based on impact and what it did for the series, and then one that's like probably the best when it comes to style. When it comes to most impactful, I would say it's the classic spine rip from Mortal Kombat 1 by Sub-Zero. That like defined violence in video games, and it just helped define Mortal Kombat as a whole in the past. But in present, when it comes to style, I would say the best one probably has to be Johnny Cage's Who Hired This Guy. I just thought that was hilarious when I saw it. Whenever I show that to friends, they always find that to be super hilarious, and that kind of hooks them into the game a bit more.
From Noob Saibot FGC, Which game is your favorite from a gameplay perspective, and do you consider Mortal Kombat 11 a step in the right direction?
From a gameplay perspective, I would say the 2011 reboot and MKX are like the two favorites of mine when it comes to gameplay. I thought they were done super right. I thought it was a nice, fresh, clean slate when it came to 2011, and the variation system with X was a nice new way to play all of the characters. When it comes to Mortal Kombat 11, I would say it was a step in the right direction, but it had some faults along the way. I thought that the Fatal Blow and the Crushing Blows were a great addition. However, I felt some of the combat was a bit limited and the game speed felt a little slower. So if it managed to improve the speed like MK 2011 while adding on just the Crushing Blows and Fatal Blows, I thought that would have made it probably the best Mortal Kombat gameplay-wise. But I would still say that the three new ones are really good when it comes to gameplay.
From 1UP Animations, what's your top 5 most used characters in Mortal Kombat 11?
My most played characters in Mortal Kombat 11 are Sub-Zero by a long shot. Followed by that, I would say it's Scorpion maybe, then Spawn, Liu Kang, and then Baraka. I just found those characters to be the most fun to play as, and just kind of playing to unlock their gear was a fun venture, and that was the big reason I played as them the most.
From Celia Sullivan, if you had to fight any Mortal Kombat character, who do you think you'd have the best shot at beating?
Well, to be fair, a solid 99% of them could probably kill me by looking at me wrong. But if I had to say if I could take one on and somewhat have a chance at beating them, I would say it's Meat. I'd say because the lack of him not having any skin, maybe I could slap him, give him a nice 5-star, fan on him, throw pocket sand at him, throw some salt on him. I feel like I could do plenty of damage. But yeah, I could say that I could beat Meat no problem.
From The Mentally Well, what are your thoughts on Mortal Kombat expanding into other genres, such as a Katana and Jade's Assassin's Creed type game, or a Cassie and Sonya co-op shooter?
Oh my goodness, those actually sound really cool. I think an Assassin's Creed style minigame where you're playing as like Jade trying to take down like outworld leaders or cons. I think that'd be a nice spin or a nice spin-off of Mortal Kombat. And then maybe like an Army of Two or Special Forces style Mortal Kombat game would be great that isn't Special Forces with Jax. I think would be great. If they manage to include those as mini games in the next Mortal Kombat, I would definitely check those out.
The Raven King asks, if you have the opportunity to delete one of the main characters from the whole series, who would it be and who would you replace the character with?
Oh, Raven King, you just asked me a real difficult question. If I had to remove a classic character, I would say it would have to be Blaze from Mortal Kombat 2. Just get rid of Blaze and use an actual good character instead that could be established. I'd say maybe like Fujin and actually have Fujin be playable instead of just being like a background character. I just feel like as the series went on, Blaze was kind of wasted, so it just amounted to nothing.
From Anthony W., who is your favorite comedian and why?
I'm not really sure if this would count as a comedian, but my favorite comedy actor would be Chris Farley. I thought that guy was full of energy. He was super funny in everything that he was in. He always made me laugh. He's in a lot of some of my favorite movies growing up, like such as Tommy Boy, and he's in a lot of my favorite SNL sketches. Kind of a shame that he did pass away so soon. Rest in peace to you, big guy. I'm a huge fan of you.
From The Analyst, how do you feel about the controversy over the outfits in Mortal Kombat 9 with the female characters? And do you agree with it changing?
Call this a hot take if you want to, but I really don't mind the change, honestly, with those costumes. For those of you who don't know, they changed the costumes a lot to make them look have less of a sex appeal and look less like Dead or Alive characters. I know that Mortal Kombat's always had a form of sex appeal. Like, look back at the characters from Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, and they kind of look like they're wearing like some swimsuits. They kind of look like models like that. But personally, I don't have an issue with it. I don't mind it at all. I do think it was an appropriate change as the games went on, though.
From Shrimpy Gaming, in your opinion, is NetherRealm better at making Injustice or Mortal Kombat games?
I would say that NetherRealm Studios is better at making Mortal Kombat games than they are Injustice games. I do think that Injustice is a fun series, don't get me wrong, but I feel like that there's more appreciation behind Mortal Kombat with their gameplay over Injustice.
From Brendan Emmanuel, if Cetrion is an elder god, she actually first appeared in Mortal Kombat 9, right?
You're right. I actually remember seeing someone talk about that Cetrion actually made an appearance in one of Jade's or Kitana's endings in MK9. And I'm not sure if that was planned at all, but I do think that's really cool that they are tying back to that at least and pulling someone that already existed. But, yeah, I think that's actually kind of cool.
From Anoni Scott, will stage fatalities have their own ranking list?
Yes, I would like to say that this would be a great potential list to do in the future. I mean, stage fatalities have their own charm and they've changed over time, so I think it would be a great idea to cover those in the future down the line, so stay tuned for that.
From Tawan1984, do you think Shaolin Monks Remastered will ever happen?
Do I want it to happen? Hell yes. Realistically, I think that a remaster or a remake is pretty slim. If anything, I feel a new Shaolin Monks would happen before like a remaster or anything.
Horror Mania asked if you could create any fatality for any character in an upcoming game, who and what would the fatality be?
All right, this is a fun one I've thought about before. So for this one, I'm going to choose Sub-Zero, and for this one, I am imagining a jump distance finisher, so where you're pretty far away. And what I'm imagining Sub-Zero does is he like creates two ice pillars and they shoot through the opponent's hands so they're kind of off the ground. And from there he like freezes the opponent's legs like up to their like above their abdominal line. And then he does like an ice slide while they're being hung up. And he breaks through their legs, shatters them, and all that's left is like booby up. And they start sliding down slowly as everything starts to pour out, and he like looks back at them, and that's like the last shot is him looking and their body sinking all the way to the bottom and their hands still being hung up there. So NetherRealm Studios, if you guys want to use that idea, go ahead.
Samuel Mateos asked me, if you could choose a Mortal Kombat character to not exist, which one would you pick?
I've thought long and hard on this one, but at the end of the day, I decided to go with Jarek from Mortal Kombat 4. He's literally just a carbon copy of Kano from MK 1, 2, and 3. His moveset's very similar. His finishers are extremely identical. I just feel like that he served no purpose in the story other than having the worst MK ending, and I just hope that he never returns.
From Mr. Mortman, what's a video game that you love but you're not good at? Mine would be Ghosts and Goblins on the Genesis.
I honestly have a few that I can think of right here. The first one I would say is Tekken 7. I love that game, just watching it is super fun to watch, but if I am going up against someone competitively, I am probably going to get railed and destroyed pretty instantly. Competitively, I'm not great at that game. I just think I need to spend a lot of time in the lab to understand that. If I fight anyone from Grand Finals, they're just gonna laugh at me the whole time. Another I would say is Dragon Ball FighterZ. I have learned that a bit, but the thing is I'm not huge into Guilty Gear games. I haven't really played them a whole lot, so I just have to get used to like the game speed for that one specifically. And the third I would say is King of Fighters. I remember downloading it. Technical, it's very different from the other fighters I've played in the past. And I'd really like to get more into that and learn about that before the new King of Fighters 15 comes out later in 2022.
From the Nitro Bros, how many characters do you think will be in Mortal Kombat 12?
The games have averaged between having anywhere from 28 base characters to 25 base characters. So realistically, I would say 26, 27 would be pretty realistic, and I feel like that would be a safe number to go with.
From Elijah Brand, who do you think will be the next guest character in Mortal Kombat?
If I had to be a little realistic about this, like who could we see? Like who is like if I had to put money on it, who do I think it's going to be? I think it's going to be another DC Comics representative. Specifically, I want to say it's Deathstroke from the Batman comics. I think that if they're comfortable with adding the Joker and the fact that I'd say that Deathstroke is super popular in the DC universe, he's already crossed paths with characters from Mortal Kombat, from MK versus DC. He had a lot to offer gameplay wise with his staff, his guns, his sword, and he's really brutal too. So I'm certain that Deathstroke he kind of would work already, and I think that he would be a great guest to have in, and I think that his chances are kind of high.
Don't sub, too late. If you could create one crossover for Mortal Kombat, like what they did with MK vs. DC, what universe would it be with?
Oh, if I could create a crossover for Mortal Kombat, I would love to create one between Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat. Killer Combat, how about that? I just love to see like Full Gore fight the Cyber Initiative, Riptor go up against like Reptile and have Saberwolf go up against Baraka, Jago go up against Liu Kang and Kung Lao. I just think it would be a bloody good time. I'd love to see it.
From Black Mask, what do you think is going to be the last character I cover?
I really have no idea who the last character I'm going to cover will be. I'd like to keep the series going on for a little while longer. Maybe not stick with Mortal Kombat, but like branch out into other stuff. But yeah, there's a lot I'd like to cover, but I don't really know who the last one will be. So only time will tell, I guess.
From Undrifted Pop, do you like Ermac? Because I feel like I'm the only person who loves Ermac. In fact, he's my favorite.
Yes, I really do like Ermac. A couple of reasons. For one, he's red. Red is my favorite color. I think his origin in Mortal Kombat 2011 was a great way to reintroduce him. And the rumors of how he existed back in the day I thought was really cool. So, fingers crossed that he makes his way back into Mortal Kombat 12.
From Kyle R. Person 98 and Chris 41205, what led you to fall in love with Mortal Kombat or fighter games in general? And what made you fall in love with the MK franchise? For me, I gotta say it was the lore. And have a good day, Nick.
So what made me fall in love with Mortal Kombat or fighting games in general? I'd say just Mortal Kombat was something that stuck with me when I was younger. Really what stood out to me were the fatalities and just the over-the-top violence. I thought that was super funny, but as I got older, I would say I really fell in love with like the story mode and the narrative and how much time the team put into a mode like that. Whereas many fighters didn't do stuff like story modes, and now it's something that we're slowly seeing being introduced in other fighters, and some tried, some failed. I just think that Mortal Kombat nails their story modes in every game that they do. But I think that, yeah, that's really what made me fall in love with Mortal Kombat was the narrative and the over-the-top violence. That's what made me love it so much. And with fighters in general, it's just something that stemmed from Mortal Kombat and branched everywhere else. So that's why I love fighters.
From Solar, are you planning on doing fatality rankings for all characters? If so, which ones are you most excited for to do next?
As of right now, I am planning on covering more characters inside of the Mortal Kombat universe. I'm not sure about doing every single character, but there is a lot that I do plan on covering. The one I am most excited about, stay tuned and I will tell you more about that.
From Zuno18, if you had to pick any Mortal Kombat character to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, who would it be?
If a Mortal Kombat representative made their way into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I feel it would be Scorpion. I feel that he has a very diverse moveset with his spear. He could do Inferno Scorpion moves, teleporting. I feel he could translate super well into Smash Brothers. And having Scorpion go up against Ryu, Kazuya, Terry Bogard would just be like fighting game dream come true material right there. So I wish it happened. But Sora was a great pick. I'm not mad about that. But yeah, Scorpion I would say would be the one that would go in there.
From Ryan Cassidy, who are your top 10 fighters in Mortal Kombat?
From bottom to top, I would say it goes Goro, then Melina, Kitana, Cyrax, Smoke, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, and then my main, Sub-Zero.
From No Acre, what would you do with characters who don't have a lot of fatalities? Combine multiple combatants into one video, or just have a short video dedicated to each?
That is something I really have thought about when it comes to expanding this series. I feel like I have thought about this, and I want to like merge some characters together. Like an example of one I really wanted to do was like all the combat kids ranked, MKX newcomers, all bosses, which that's one I'm actually considering doing in the future. And then the next compilation finisher that I'm doing is one coming soon, and it's one that you have been asking for a lot, and that is the all guest character finishers ranked. So I'm about to announce something at the end, but that is coming up soon, so I hope you're excited for that.
From the Creeping Unit, what made you consider doing this project series, and how long do you see it lasting after it's all done, MK fatalities wise?
So funnily enough, I actually didn't consider doing this as a series. I wanted to do it as a one-off before I quit YouTube. The Scorpion video, I just thought about doing that because I thought it would be fun. And then after I was done with that video, I left it on a cliffhanger in case it did good, but I was planning on just quitting YouTube and then jumping to real work as I was graduating school. But because of your support and people who watched the video and me just ballooning with followers, I just thought I'll turn this into a series. I can get some experience, I can go into my career, and I have a fun way of engaging with you all and doing something I'm passionate about. So because of that, that's why I turned it into a series. When it comes to how long I think this can last, I feel like this series can go on for a while, not even just Mortal Kombat wise. I've thought about translating the ranking series into stuff like Crash Bandicoot, Killer Instinct, other games I'm passionate about. So I feel like this series could keep going for a while. It doesn't just have to be Mortal Kombat. I'll keep branching it into other things I'm passionate about. But yeah, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be doing this series. Thank you for your support.
IJC13, once you're done with your fatality ranking series, what happens then? Do you have any new series you would want to start?
I don't know how long it'll take until this series ends. When it comes to Mortal Kombat, there's a lot I could cover, and I could just incorporate the ranking into other series, as I stated in the question before this one. But for other series, I do have a few that I want to do. One that I have thought about was creative combatant. That's what my idea was. And the idea is taking popular guest characters that people have requested and see how they can fit into Mortal Kombat. Similar to what I did with creative combatant back when they announced the combat pack of when they announced Spawn, Terminator, the data mining of Ash Williams. I'd like to bring that back, but do it with highly requested characters for future Mortal Kombat games. So maybe I could do one for Doomslayer, redo one for Ash maybe, Pinhead, Nemesis, other characters I'd love to see. And then if there's any characters that you would love to see in Mortal Kombat, I could see how they could turn their playstyle and how they can adapt that into Mortal Kombat, or even with other fighting games, because guest characters are the craze with a lot of games nowadays, and I'd love to see how they fit into other properties. Like, what if the Marauder made their way into Killer Instinct? How would they play? I don't know. I'd like to figure that out and throw my 2 cents how that would work.
From Skyrod Gaming, what are your top 3 characters judging off of fatalities?
When it comes to fatalities, I would say the best characters, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Johnny Cage have the best fatalities in the series. The more I think about it, some of the character rankings from the series I just did, they either went from bad to mediocre at the end, but when it came to those 3, it was like they're either bad to some of the series' bests, but I'd say that Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Johnny Cage have the best fatalities in all of Mortal Kombat.
From Not Sure, what do you think of each licensed character in Dead by Daylight?
I think that all of the licensed characters fit super well in Dead by Daylight. Each of them fit super well. They've all been adapted super great, and I'd like to see more down the line. So fingers crossed that we get some more cool ones down the line, and I'll probably do some more lists regarding Dead by Daylight. So if that's something you'd like to see, let me know.
From Sefer Safai, what are your favorite gear pieces in Injustice 2?
I'm not really sure which one is my favorite. Off of memory, I would say that I really like the Freddy Krueger hat that's used for Scarecrow. I just found that to be a nice touch to Robert Englund, Scarecrow's voice actor, who also played Freddy Krueger in his most popular role ever. if that was intentional or not, I just think it was genius and I absolutely love it.
From Ben Arizmendi, can you please do a noob Cybot for fatalities ranked? Also, have a good day.
All I'm going to say about that is stay tuned.
From Ross JR8604, would you still like for NetherRealm Studios to do an HD remake of the first trilogy, MK1 to UMK3?
Honestly, not really. If anything, I'd like to see them retouch up Mortal Kombat Trilogy, just like the original one that was on PS1, and bring that up. I think that would be a little bit more fun than having an updated version of MK1, 2, and 3. I know Ed Boon talked about it on the Rapid Fire interview where he said that it would be nice, but it would lose its touch after like a week. So I think bringing something like Trilogy, because that hasn't really had a re-release since when it came out in the PS1 era. But I'd like to see that come back instead.
From Lucas Stretcher, what is your favorite thing about doing YouTube?
My favorite part about YouTube is interacting with all of you guys and doing content that I'm super passionate about. When I'm not having the best day and when I'm feeling down, just going through your comments and having some of you that say that, like, I like your content, or even just saying a nice comment in there, just liking the video, it makes me feel so much better at the end of the day. I know it sounds a little cheesy, but you guys mean so much to me. I just want to say interacting with you all is my favorite thing about YouTube.
From Adane Tyler, who is the strongest fighter in MKX, including the DLCs?
According to tier lists, they say that Ermac's mystical variation is the best one. I haven't really gone up against it, so I can't go off that, but from my experience with friends and going online, I would say any of the alien variations are the best. When that character came out, and to this day, Alien is still a nightmare.
From Flicks and Jams Entertainment, your least favorite cousin on your dad's side?
Barrett Givernoise?
From Zeke, how are you?
I'm doing good, and I hope that you are too. And I hope everyone watching this is doing fantastic. Just, if you're having a rough time, just keep shining bright, keep being yourself. And I just hope that right now you are making someone's day better. Just keep being yourself.
From Anima Gohane, what's your name and your editing app?
Well, my name is Nick. I'm not sure if you knew that already. And the editing app or software that I use is called Wondershare Filmora 9. If anyone is trying to start on YouTube and wants to use a editing software that's pretty easy, user-friendly, and you can make fun videos out of it, I highly recommend Wondershare Filmora 9. I've been using it since 2016, and I have nothing but good things to say about it. I highly recommend it to you all.
From Remington Burleson, who was your first main and now who is your current main?
My first main since Mortal Kombat 3 was Sub-Zero, and to this day, it is still Sub-Zero. I just think he's awesome, accessible, and I thought he was just super fun, and that's the reason why I like him.
From Jonathan Rios, of all the players in the MK universe, which one is your go-to when things get tough online?
When a match gets really serious in Combat League, I would say I either switch to Baraka if I want to like get a lot of rushdown stuff done, or Sub-Zero if I want to get good mix-ups in there. Depending on who I'm going up against, it's one of those two.
From Redsda Malaysian Crossover, what is your favorite YouTuber?
There's a lot of them that I do love, so I can't just choose one. So here's a list of some of my favorite YouTubers. First I'd say is Maximilian Dude and Yo Video Games. You guys put a huge smile on my face. Cat Icarus, I absolutely love your reviews on everything PS1 related. Sean Chandler talks about movies. He is a great reviewer. Give him a look-see if you want to know what's going on in movies, whether it's Marvel, Disney, Pixar, fun science, like sci-fi, fun stuff like that. Square Eyed Jack, fun Australian YouTuber that I absolutely love. And Matt McMuscles with his What Happened series, Flophouse Files, and Fighting Game Theater. If you haven't heard or watched any of those YouTubers, consider giving them a subscription and give them a watch. They're all amazing YouTubers.
From RoboKid, what is my MK11 username?
My MK11 username is the same as my YouTube username, which is NickNackPadyWak, and hopefully I'll see you in an online lobby. I'd love to do some one-on-ones.
From Colby Hills, what do you want for Christmas?
Thank you for asking, Colby. The winter season's coming around, and for how cold I am all the time, I think a nice blanket would be really cool. And for you to collaborate with me in the future, so I hope you're excited for that, and I got some cool ideas for us.
From Thickest Iguana, may I ask what inspired you to do YouTube, and what are your tips for someone trying to get started, like me? Thank you, and I hope you take these into consideration.
Thank you for asking, Thickest Iguana. I'd say what inspired me to do YouTube, or to do it seriously, was to engage with all of you who have a similar interest in gaming. I thought doing discussions about something I'm passionate about, which was Mortal Kombat, and interacting with you all would be a fun blast. I thought about doing like a new spin on something I love, and I wanted to do something I haven't seen many people talk about, which was doing like a all character finishers ranked, guests ranked, and just new ideas like that that not many people have done. And like within the past year, seeing how much my channel blew up, I thought I would take that spin and keep it going. And because of your interaction, for how fun it was doing it, that's what kept me going. So for anyone who is trying to start, I would say here are some tips that I use to get out there. Big thing to know is it is going to take a while to get noticed, to have your content launch. So try to be as patient as you can. Try to think of doing something outside of the box, like something that seems different, like doing the ranking of character fatals, guest characters ranked. I thought that would be something fun to do. And then it helps separate you from other people covering the same thing as you. And also I'd consider engaging with your audience. Honestly, like when you guys left comments, it took me so long to get any comments in any videos, so I thought it would be nice to get back with you. I really do care about everything that you guys have to say to me, all of your thoughts, your feedbacks, and even you providing like your insight on like making discussion. That means so much to me, so I would recommend trying to get in contact with your audience. I really hope that does help out in your venture. I'll surely give you a subscription, Thickest Iguana, and I wish you the best on your adventure.
From Havoc Spawner, will you ever do a face reveal?
I really don't think I'm going to, but thank you for asking though. Consider that down the line.
And last question from Not Cool Abdul, are you biased against Kung Lao?
No, I am not. I actually really like Kung Lao a lot. I like the character, so much so that Kung Lao is going to be the next character on all character finishers ranked. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for him and other Mortal Kombat 2 representatives, and I thought now would be a perfect time to announce he's going to be next. Many of you have seen that new community tab post I made saying thank you for 10,000 subscribers, and I put him in the thumbnail in the back as like a fun little teaser. Many of you caught on to it. I'd like to say congratulations on that. And I would also like to announce here that instead of what I did in the last videos where I announced who's next at the end of the video, I will be doing teases like that from now on, just subtle hints of who the next character is going to be in the community tab. So be sure to stay tuned in the tab and see what's going to be next. And also, I'm going to be changing the upload patterns a bit. So it's not going to be exclusively ranking of character finishers. It'll probably be like a character finisher ranked, another discussion video, another topic, and then maybe that. But it's going to change. It's not going to be just a string of only these ranking finishers coming up. I have a lot of different video ideas, and I hope that you're all looking forward to it. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more videos to come. And those were all of the questions I had for you all today. Sorry it took so long for this to come out. October was such a busy month for me. I had so much going on. I just needed to take a minute to kind of breathe and get everything kind of put together. I hope the wait was worth it, so I'm sorry. If you haven't yet, be sure to follow the new Twitter that I made at the NNPW. And be sure to follow Grand Finals Gaming on social media and check out their website for merch like this and this here. If you enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and share the video with all of your friends. Be sure to join the Whack Pack today for fun Mortal content and other fun content coming down the line. As always, thank you very much for tuning into this video. My name is Nick, and I hope you have a wonderful day.